George Will is a disaster. The guy's a disaster. Honestly, another one, Karl Rove. No, he's terrible. He's terrible. He's terrible. He still thinks that Mitt Romney won. He's still going around saying, I think you won. I think the guy is a total incompetent jerk.
Bad night for Fox, apparently. And Rove is from Texas, by the way, and that's where that rally was being held. And, of course, that was Donald Trump making even more mainstream Republican friends. Let's continue our conversation on Donald Trump and Ben Carson. The Club for Growth going after the GOP frontrunner is no small thing, especially with Ben Carson rising in the polls. Heather Hansen, let me quote the New York Times, just had an article come out about Club for Growth and Donald Trump. It says the announcement marks the first serious and sustained attempt to defang Mr. Trump by any moneyed force in the Republican Party. It is a test Mr. Trump, for all's apparent strength, has yet to face. So we always talk about what's going to derail Donald Trump. Is this the type of thing that will, from the conservative, the right of Donald Trump?
Yeah, I think so, but then again, I thought he would be derailed long ago. I thought he was going to be derailed when he commented poorly about veterans. So I think that, you know, you just don't know. Right, yeah, McCain. I think that it is getting there. I mean, the fact that we see Ben Carson rising in the polls is no mistake. I think that he is bringing a similar message that's far more positive, and I think the combination of Donald Trump just hating on everyone's a disaster and everyone's stupid, and if you can see a positive message and at the same time see some negative things about Donald Trump, that may change some minds.
So is this a rare moment in politics where usually you go negative and that's when your numbers go up? Right. Ben Carson goes positive and he's up 20 points in a month.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's the reason Ben Carson is up, but clearly he has gone up. Look, those of us who have interviewed Ben Carson know he is a nice man, and that's coming through. He is, in essence, becoming the anti-Trump. Now, the bad news for Ben Carson is that with his growing poll numbers, what he says is going to start to get a lot more attention.
Magnified.
And he says some really strange things. So, I mean, he'll do fine on saying that Obamacare was the worst thing since slavery, and he'll get away with that. But there's some things he's been saying out there that are just kind of over the top. So when we get to the substance part of this campaign, if we ever get to a substance part in this campaign, I think that's when Ben Carson starts to feel the heat.
There's still over 400 days till the election, so we do have time.
Well, we have time, and I'm hoping we'll start to get a taste of it tomorrow night in the debate.
I was just going to say that. I think that we will. I think that those two are going to be really close to one another, you know, able to touch, and we'll see what happens.
So I wonder if we get to the substance part, and Trump is exposed not to be a conservative, and Ben Carson is a nice guy who's a genius in terms of
his medical career.
Then I wonder who then rises to the top. Who else could there be that's somebody that could be appealing
I'm sure
and pragmatic?
Pick Carly Fiorina,
and
right?
Jonathan, yeah, that's the question for you. If anybody, do you like anybody in this race for that?
You know, I mean, I think John Kasich is
the governor of Ohio,
right? Is possible right there. But you know, I think here's something that we need to point out. When we look at these two individuals, we look at what Ben Carson's doing and what Donald Trump is doing. They're both doing things that are not normal, right? Being nice and not going after the attack, not normal, makes him go up. Even though Trump is going negative, he's not going negative like other people have, where they say things about their record. He just looks at somebody and says, "That guy's an idiot," or "That guy looks weird."
Or not exactly being nice, though.
No, not being.
And doesn't it leave the feeling, don't you think, that he doesn't know what that guy's record is?
Right.
So that's why he makes it all so personal.
But here's why I think it doesn't bother him, because before people were saying things like, I would say, "You look strange," and then smile and say, "But you're a nice guy." He doesn't say that. He says straight out, just the way a normal person would say, "I don't like you," period. You know, and I think that really helps. And let me just say this one more thing I take from you, Rick, is that this group, the Club for Growth, I'm really wondering, are they more concerned with a disaster? I think you said a disaster for conservatism, or is it for Republicans? Because I hear him defending people that are not necessarily conservative. They're more concerned with being Republican. And it instantly gives me a negative view of the Club for Growth when they're defending conservatism.
Although actually, I mean, I'm hardly the one to speak up for the Club for Growth. However, they do have a record of actually going after people on both sides of the aisle when it comes to misspending money in government.
Yeah.
Sure.
So
it's all about money for them. I mean, that's the issue.
Here's what I want to know, and I wish I asked the question, and it happens when you interview somebody, why didn't I ask that question? If they disagree with Donald Trump so much, then why are they asking him for money? Doesn't that seem kind of a contradiction?
Absolutely. And the idea, well, but...
You take money where you can get it?
Yeah, you don't have to agree with somebody. They didn't know he was going to run.
Right, but when they said that they didn't know he was going to run and yet they didn't like his ideas on trade and on taxes, he has not really come out with any ideas as of today, much less as of the time that they say that they didn't like
Very
him.
fair. I mean, what Heather's pointing out, and she's right, is he said in that interview that they weren't comfortable with Trump's positions. Really? Could you tell us what Trump's positions are that you're not comfortable with? They were very comfortable taking the $1 million had he chosen to give it to them. Believe me, they would be talking a little bit differently right
And here's
now.
the thing, Rick, it's an unfair fight, right? Because they say, we're going to spend $1 million on advertising against Donald Trump. And Donald Trump probably eclipses that by a 20 or 30 times margin.
But he hasn't
based on no, he's not spending it. He's getting it all in free media.
Oh, yeah.
Sure. He'll get it with 22, 23 million people tomorrow night at that debate, and then he'll be interviewed for the next 2 weeks, just like he was again.
The party will be over one of these days, and when it's over, doesn't mean that Donald Trump will be over. It means the free media ride will be over, and he's going to have to open up his wallet.
I don't think it ever ends.
Also, what you just said about this Club for Growth, about the money thing, is that I'm starting to see now that a lot of these Republican hardliners don't like Trump because he's not investing in the Republican machine.
That could be right.
He's not putting the money in there. He's getting it all for free right now, and he's using his own money.
Right.
That's right, and barely any of it for that matter. Right.
Yeah.
So anyway, what do you think about the Club for Growth going after Donald Trump? Well, if you go to newsmaxtv.com/comments right below me, yes, it is, and let us know. Also, we may read some on the air later in the show. We've done it before. We'll do it again. Up next, are women ditching Hillary Clinton? We've got all that next.